My grandfather that came directly from Italy and made his way across the United States and settled in Grantsville, Utah. He bought a huge ranch that was called the 6 Mile Ranch because it was 6 miles out of Grantsville.
Tell him his name. I love his name. What's his name?
Giovanni
Castagno.
I never knew how to say it. When I was growing up, we just said it was Castagno. And when I went to college, I said Castagno, like trying to sound it out phonetically. He developed cattle and raised the feed for it, and raised this family by himself with this literally pioneer home. Unbelievable to me. No running water, no electricity, nothing convenient. Bathroom was outside. It was a 2-story big farmhouse, and I remember playing on the front porch. There was a big tree out front where we would play. No lawn. It was dirt. The running water into the house was from a well under the tree that went into the home. I remember that. For bathing, I remember being in a big tub with the water we would heat on the stove. I remember the cousins would come and we would have the greatest time together. My grandfather had a phonograph thing that you had to wind up for the record. So when all the cousins would come, we would go in this living room and we would dance according to how fast we could wind up the record to go. I remember the family would come, all the uncles and their family and their kids. It was kind of a meeting place down in this big ranch. At the fall, when the cattle are brought from the island, which my grandfather homesteaded, and to this day we still own the property on Stansbury Island, across the Great Salt Lake. With my grandfather somehow made such a family unit that all the uncles worked together, and just to maintain that family love through the years with the uncles. And when I was 5, I might add that my grandfather, when each one of his children got married, they were given a farm with so many animals, so many horses. So when my father married, he was given the place in Erta with so many cattle and horses. And from there, I started school at Twilla High School. A bus would come every day and pick all the kids up that lived in Erta. And for kindergarten through high school, I rode a bus every day to school. Kids didn't drive to school in those days. It was all bused in. Growing up, living in a small community where we were all friends because all of our family and friends were all farmers. So we had everything in common. So I might add that our little church that we would go to in Erta was our social. We did everything. We had dances there, gold and green balls in those days. We had road shows, and we would put on our own plays. And, when I was 13 years old, I got to teach a Sunday school class because my mother was the president of the Sunday school. We would have primary after school, and we would have a 3-hour session. Priesthood was in the morning, and then there was Sunday school, and then at night we would have our sacrament meeting. And one time, I'm not sure I even had a driver's license at the time, but the bishop asked me, because we got there a little early, if I'd go to his home and pick up his wife and children. And my best friend went with me. And when we got, which was up on the hill a little bit, they had six children, so she couldn't go. So on the way back, I hit a washout where the rain had washed out on this dirt road, because not all the roads in Uri were paved, and this one was not. And I had a terrible car accident. I hit that ditch and it tipped the car over. And I'll never forget that frightening feeling as I got up, and instead of checking on my friend, I got up and started running for help, and I looked back and it was really dusty. And she was coming down the road covered in dust. I thought, I'm dead, and she's an angel coming to get me or something. Anyway, that was one of my most frightening things that ever happened to me. Is I'm not sure I even had a driver's license, because in those days we all drove early, especially on the farm. We were always driving trucks and things, and we were taught early to drive on the farm, not necessarily on the roads. And if we wanted to go play with our friends, we'd get on our horse, and away we'd go over to their house, and vice versa. Growing up, it was not just farmlands and people, it was a family. The whole area was, we knew everyone, and everyone knew everyone's business because we had a party line, and there would be 5 or 6 people on that party line. So when it would ring, each of us had a certain number to answer to. And I remember ours was 5 rings. And there were 5 other people that would be listening in to those conversations. Anyway, it was one big farming family. Friends that still dear friends, and the families there. And we did everything socially was connected through our church. Okay, my oldest sister was Lorraine, and she was the leader. She was so kind. I remember her saying, Ella, just stop tagging me along. I'm not going to take you with my friends. Go find your own friends. I remember I always wanted to be with her. She'd always give in and say, oh, come on, I'll take you. And then my brother was a hero to me. He was a great athlete and hardworking, worked side by side with my dad when he played sports. Of course, we all went and watched. Anyway, he would love to tease. Oh my goodness. He was a teaser. He just kept us all on our toes. The one thing I didn't like about my brother is when he would chase me with a snake. I hated snakes. And he would delight in teasing me. When I was out driving the tractor for all these hay men, if they found a snake, they would think it was really fun to throw it at me. And while I was driving the tractor, they loved to see me scream and holler, I guess. Anyway, he was a great brother, protected us, helped us. When my father died, he had, he was a student at Logan University, and he had been offered a pro football contract, and he gave it all up to take care of my mother and sisters on the farm. And he never stopped taking care of us. He watched over us, protected us, shared everything he had from the farm. Like I said, I loved him dearly, like my older sister. My younger sister, she is still my best friend too. My brother and sister both passed away older. But my younger sister was more of a daddy's girl, I guess. She would tag him around. Where I preferred to be in the house, she preferred to be out and helping him in every way possible. any help that was needed, we as a family would just go out and help my dad. And since there was only one boy, we all pitched in and helped. I drove a hay wagon tractor for the hayman to put them. In those days, they didn't have the bales like machinery like they do now. That was a bale of hay tied with twine that they would have to throw up onto a trailer, and I would have to be the driver, driving down the rows and feeding the chickens, gathering the eggs, name it. We all worked together as a family. The one job I refused to do was milk. I didn't want to do that. In fact, whenever it came the choice of being outside on the farm or inside, I chose to be inside. I loved to cook. And I remember standing on a stool and I made my father lunch. And I remember opening a can of corn and scrambling an egg for my father that I couldn't even reach the stove, but I made him that lunch. And I remember it so well because he just thought it was the greatest meal he'd ever had. We worked together as a family. We played games together after all the chores were done. And the farm was all put to sleep as far as the chores. We played Pit. I'm sure maybe you've never played that, but it's a card game and Dad, Mom, the kids, we'd all play it together. And we had a lot of company. In those days, people came to visit. My mother's side, her aunts and uncles would come and visit with us, and they'd come from all over. They settled out in Peoria when the families, and they'd get in their little cars and they'd come and see us. And we knew our great grandparents and great aunts and uncles. And like I said, my father's family were always close-knit. We always had an uncle coming. We all grew up with our cousins. We knew our cousins. In fact, we still have family reunions, and we have about 200 people come, and we've kept that line alive. On my father's side, it was a great family, great siblings, and we stayed close and worked together all of our lives. It was a great mom and dad, great family, full of love and kindness, generosity, helping each other.
Yeah, Ella Morel Santiago. Ella, I couldn't ask for a greater mother. I mean, Ella is the epitome of kindness and charity.
In my house, I have this thing hanging on my wall that says, "We rise by lifting others." And I really learned that first from my mom. And I just think of everything she's done in life was always focused outward. And she taught me to do that as well.
My entire life I've seen Ella Santiago as someone that cares more deeply about others and their well-being than her own, which is awfully unique in this world we live in.
She is a model of a disciple of Jesus Christ. When I look at her and her daily acts of discipleship, just show you like that's the kind of person I want to be. If I could be like her, treat people the way she treats people, love the way that she loves, and do what she does. Like her capacity to serve and to love people is just unmatched.
If there's a fire, she's the one that runs to. She's the one that goes to the need. If there's a person, even not in our family, that's in need, she's the first to be there to care for that person because it is who she is.
I remember we were driving on the State Road 89 going to Mapleton, and there was an older woman carrying her groceries. Wasn't clear if she was experiencing homelessness or not, but my mom noticed her and she pulled over and said, "We're helping her today. She needs help." And so she offered this woman a ride, and the lady got in her car. I remember, if my mom trusts that there's a need and this woman needs it, she's gonna pull over. And so the woman got in our car, and soon she was our friend. We drove her to her house, we helped her take in her groceries, and my mom would go back and visit. And if she had something extra, when we would go to see my aunt and my grandmother, we would stop at this woman's house. And those were the times to be with my mom, to see who she really is. Because she would stop and serve anyone. And it didn't matter what they looked like or what the circumstance was. She had people in her mind every day when she woke up of who we needed help.
She is a connector of people. She wants us to be together. She looks for opportunities to bring us together. She's sensitive about people's feelings. She is aware of everyone. She is someone that blesses many, many lives. It just is how she is. I mean, little farm girl, rodeo queen. I always love to tell people that my mom was a rodeo queen from Urda.
The magic of Ella Santiago is that even though she was raised on a farm, she's the girliest of girls, and then she had 5 boys. And so to me, the way that she raised us gave us a chance to realize how unbelievably incredible women are in our lives, and how to treat them and how to respect them. So to me, my mom is everything. She's been my mentor, my coach. She's got an amazing sense of humor that most people don't see right off the bat until you're around her. But she loves to joke, and so yeah, my mom's everything to me.